You know, girls, I reckon our fellas today do it really easy, especially when it comes to childbirth. Trust them to start something and leave it up to us girls to finish the job. But how did our pioneering fathers handle childbirth? Well, let me tell you about a tale Greg Scott penned called Mulligan's Mob. Old Mulligan's shack lay well off the track, on a run that was stony and sour. A settler's block, it was hard as a rock, with no telephone, light or power. And Mulligan too was as tough as a roo, though he'd mellowed considerably, for he'd wed late in life and his darling young wife was expecting their first progeny. Well, the prospect he had of becoming a dad filled Mulligan's heart with joy, and he knew that he oughta be pleased with a daughter, but secretly hoped for a boy. A strapping young lad, he could help his old dad and see his mum come to no harm. He'd be handsome and game and get Mulligan's name and the dubious bequest of the farm. He sent for his sister a fortnight before. She was skilled in midwifery's art. As his darling wife grew, he knew she was due by the dates on his old carving chart. Then early one morning, as Mulligan dreamed of the future in store for his son, he was woken in fear by a voice in his ear. "Wake up, Pat, I think my time's come." Well, he flew into action as Mulligan could, lit the lantern and stoked up the fire, woke up his sister and split some more wood, and dressed in delivery attire. And as time shuffled by, the tension ran high as his poor wife lay gasping and panting, and Mulligan stood like petrified wood with a white knuckle grasp on the lantern. Then very soon after, midst crying and laughter, relief intermingled with joy, in that little bush shack on Mulligan's track, the midwife delivered a boy. As the young fella screamed and Mulligan beamed on that morning he'd never forget, he heard his wife say in her casual way, "I don't think I've quite finished yet." As the words that she said spun around in his head, his sister moved into top gear. "Well now, fancy that. Hold the lantern still, Pat. I think there's another one here." By the flickering light, they could see she was right, and they marvelled from one to the other. Then, "Push now, my love," and his wife gave a shove, and old Mulligan's son had a brother. As the second son squealed and Mulligan reeled, he was stunned by his wife's awesome plumbing, and quite unprepared, as the midwife declared, "I think there's another one coming." As Mulligan looked, his wife's body shook, and her face wore a trance-like expression. And his sister said, "Pat, well, how about that?" as two daughters arrived in succession. The next little while was recalled with a smile by his sister for many years after, and the Mulligan crew saw the joke in it too, though it may well have been a disaster. At the sight of 4 babies, all squealing and damp, lined up at the foot of the bed, old Mulligan turned and blew out the lamp, as if something had snapped in his head. Then from the darkness his terrified roar, as his wife gave a final contraction, "I've got 4 on the floor, and I don't want any more, and it must be the light that attracts 'em." As the years have gone by, the laughter rings high round the table at Mulligan's camp, and 4 kids want to know of that time long ago when Mulligan blew out the lamp. up.